We have team coverage across every angle of this tonight. Tom Winter is standing by, along with our former ATF Special Agent in Charge, Jim Kavanaugh, who's joining us. Monica Alba is at the White House. Julia Ainsley is with us. But I want to start on the ground in Minneapolis with Joe McCoy. Joe, from our station CARE, tell us what you're seeing on the ground tonight and what else you've learned.
Well, Hallie, what we are seeing now is a community in mourning, quite frankly. This is the tree where that maroon Honda ultimately crashed into after that driver was shot. You can see these candles that people have lit. Of course, we have flowers and also a cross. There has to be at least a few hundred people here who have joined to mourn the loss of that 37-year-old who was killed this morning. And I want to bring in this man named here, Emerson. Emerson, why did you decide to come out tonight to the scene?
Because I'm livid. I'm outraged. I'm disgusted. When I got the news, I actually almost got sick. I have to be out here. I can't sit at home and just watch this on Instagram. I have to come out here. I have to see where it happened. I have to see the people it's affecting. I just had to.
Yeah. Were you here at the protests that were happening earlier, or did you just get on scene recently at the memorial?
I got here maybe about an hour ago, so not when the protests were happening.
We appreciate your time, Emerson. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that is what we've been hearing from other community members here. What we saw on scene this morning after this shooting happened around 9:30 was, of course, protesters were angry. They were demanding answers from police, from ICE agents, from federal agents. Where things changed was around 2 p.m., and that is when MPD removed the barriers that they had set up. That is when MPD left the scene, and after that, we saw protesters starting to throw snow and ice at MPD officers, and as MPD was leaving the scene, we even saw one person throw an object that smashed the side window of a police vehicle. Those protesters then continued walking for a few blocks, not even a mile, just through the streets of Minneapolis. We arrived back on scene here at 34th and Portland, where, as we mentioned, we now have this growing memorial. What is so interesting, Hallie, as you played out in your intro there, was what we are seeing politically and the two different narratives about what happened this morning. Of course, right now what these people care about is the life that was lost here in Minneapolis, but that is what we have seen play out throughout the morning, is one side saying that Kristi Noem saying, quote, this was an act of domestic terrorism and that federal agent was defending themselves. Then we're seeing someone like the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, saying that is, quote, BS. So we are seeing this play out politically, but what we are seeing on the ground is a community that is extremely angry and a community that is now mourning.
Joe, before I have to let you go, and we're so glad to have you with us there on the ground, a couple more questions for you. First of all, as you talk about the demonstrations and the protests, and I know you're out in it right there at 34th in Portland at the location where this happened. We know the governor has called for calm. The Minneapolis mayor has as well, saying essentially don't give the Trump administration what they want, in their words, in their view. What has what has the tension felt like to you? Has it remained largely calm? Is that what you've seen?
It's not for self-defense.
It has remained largely calm, Hallie. The only time it really got tense was when those barriers came down and MPD was trying to leave the scene and people were, as I mentioned, throwing snow and ice at officers and at those police vehicles. Other than that, it's just been, of course, a lot of profanity, people screaming at officers, asking for them to arrest the ICE agent that fired that fatal shot. Here, it is completely peaceful. People are just holding flags. What we're seeing is a lot of people who are expressing their love for the country, but also for maybe the country they're from. We've had people flying Mexican flags, people flying other flags from different countries, saying that we are all American. We all deserve to live here in the U.S. and here in Minneapolis. What Governor Walz mentioned, as you said, about keeping things peaceful, he did say that he has the National Guard on alert. He has not called them into the city yet, but he has them on alert in case things were to escalate even more. He also said that he has called the mobile units of State Patrol to come into town. Of course, Minneapolis, post-George Floyd, we saw what happened there after the murder of George Floyd. The state and local officials just want to make sure that things do not escalate any greater.
And Joe, one more question for you, too. We know that Minnesota Senator Tina Smith, I believe it was, said that this woman who was killed was an American citizen. We heard the governor say that one of her family members essentially watched this unfold. Do we know anything else about who she was or her life?
Fucking murder!
At this moment, we do not, Hallie. The governor also said in that press conference that he has not learned the identity of this woman. KARE 11 and NBC, we are working to confirm the identity of this woman who was killed this morning.
Okay, Joe, we're glad to have you with us. Thank you very much for being on the ground for us there in Minneapolis.